Present day government throughout the planet, whether it's capitalist or communist, is mostly a burden to the people. The people work and they pay for the government, and in return, they don't get much service from the government. We have a planet where over 90% of the people are poor and struggling to survive like animals. People who have homes on the planet are considered rich. Imagine a time in life where to have a home is to be wealthy. That's outrageous. Uh, the first priority of government is survival. We have to survive first before we can prosper. If the government does not take care of our survival and lower survival costs, feel offended when our survival costs rise, when inflation makes everything more expensive, the government is not offended. It doesn't attack the causes of inflation. All the kicks of all the companies and all the special interests that kick the costs of survival up all the time. A real government would have an Amazon or a Walmart or a Costco type of attack on home cost. It would be easy to own a home or own an apartment. That is not within the range of government. The government loves to sell mental diseases of nationalism and racism because it makes the government stronger. It makes the people in submission to the government. And it divides human against human, race against race, religion against religion, nation against nation. Governments love that. Governments don't want to unite humanity. Governments want to divide humanity because it empowers government. Certainly, we have evolved from the times of the monarchs and the kings of old. We have protection from foreign invaders at an extreme cost. The military usually is extremely expensive. There is social security that before there was no such thing. We have pensions. We have roads being built. We have police protection. We have firemen. And we have some healthcare protection. In some countries, not so much. But that's the positive side, which is very small. The negative side of government is terrible. It goes in debt. The people pay for that debt and pay for that interest. The government works more for the government and its power than for the people. There is no sense that the people are sacred. To the government, it is the government or the power that is sacred and how to keep that power going. The only worry of a government is to be elected and re-elected again. It's not about the well-being of the people. There's two kinds of governments. There's talkers, people who love speeches, who can move people with speeches but do absolutely nothing. There's no substance to their speech. There's no deeds. There's no action. The speech ends right there. They make people feel good during their speech and then they go to sleep and that's it. Or we have governments that are outright thieves, that are governed by thievery, that there are special interests and special companies and special favors. There are all kinds of crocodiles crawling around the government looking for favors, and the government is only too happy to give them those favors in exchange for money for re-election or special donations. Crooked government is the norm. It is not the exception. It's like we are in the dinosaur age. The people serve the government. The government does not serve the people. That's the state of affairs. We don't have a sophisticated government who really loves their people, who want good life for their people, who take care of the homes, who take care of the cars. We should have electric cars. We can't have that. The governments are too busy worried about gasoline and gasoline companies and gasoline-powered cars. They want to please the companies that make gasoline-powered cars instead of electric cars that are cheaper to make. They could be very cheap to make. They're not so complicated to build as combustion engines. Why is it that it's so expensive to get an electric car? That is what the government never studies. The government does not go to war against the thieves. The government is in bed with the thieves most of the time because the thieves pay for elections and have special favors for the government. Unfortunately, this is the state of affairs on the planet. We need a completely different kind of government. We need a government that actually the people can love because the government takes so well care of the people. We don't have anything like that. We have to stop the nationalism and stop the racism and stop the hatred between humans and start getting united and starting, to demand from government service that we pay for.